Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out Destroy All Humans. Man, Crypto and Bender would be the best of friends, wouldn't they? So this is an old game that came out on the PlayStation 2 generation. It might have come out on the Xbox as well, I'd be lying if I said I remember. And it's one of those sort of cult classics. It's always the one on those consoles specifically that you hear about as being, like, not massively popular, like your God of Wars, your Ratchets, your Clanks, your Slies, your Jak and Daxters, or what have you. But it was always one that was popular with a certain kind of crowd. And, well, basically when THQ went under and the Nordic people ended up buying up all the THQ stuff, this is one of the IPs they got. And they basically just remastered the game from bottom up. They've given it a new HD set of graphics. It's the same levels, it's the same dialogue. They've actually used the exact same recordings to my knowledge. But it's basically just the same game again. As a relatively budget title. It didn't cost me very much. And I haven't played it before, so I thought I would. Because I thought it looked pretty great when I first heard about it, and it still looks pretty great today. I mean, hell, they did a really good job on the remaster. It definitely doesn't look like it cost $100 million to make, but the environments are detailed, the buildings blow up in a spectacular fashion, and it's pretty damn well optimized. It's got a hard frame rate lock of 120 frames a second, which is an odd choice. Usually it's either higher or lower than that. I don't think I've heard of a game that does 120 specifically. But it's still plenty smooth enough. It's pretty well optimized. It I say rarely goes below 120, but I've got everything on Ultra. And it works really well. Nothing particular wrong with the way the game runs. I've got an A700K and an RTX 2080, so you expect it to run pretty well for a game that was ported from the PlayStation 2 and possibly the Xbox, but still, it runs pretty well considering the overhaul that they've given it. So what's the story? Crypto and the other alien whose name I can't remember have come to Earth on a giant flying saucer, and they're going to destroy all humans. But they're going to do it quite kind of secret-like, because thankfully they're not invincible, otherwise that would make the game pointless. So they come down to Earth, and they're looking for ways to destroy all humans without getting, like, massively discovered and blown apart by the army in the process. And the entire game's got this fantastic B-movie styling. It isn't, like, right down into... Well, I guess it kind of is, like, right down into the plot, but we'll get into how that works. But it's got this B-movie styling with over-the-top characters, timely references, all the old-style cars, and just ways of doing things, you know? It feels like if, to put it in a way that's kind of, to put it in a very specific way, it's kind of if an alien saw all the movies that took place in this time period, because this takes place in, like, 1949. It's as if an alien saw all those movies harkening back to this time period and then turned it into a game. So it's got the style and the feeling down pat. But what about the actual gameplay? So you're an alien, but you have a few unique advantages. You've got a bunch of different weapons. You have the ability to basically disguise yourself as anyone. And you kind of need to do this a lot because... This isn't one of those sorts of games that let you just go around destroying everything willy-nilly all the time. This isn't Saints Row. That was one of the first things I thought of when I saw this game in the first place. It kind of feels like Saints Row, but it's a bit more subtle about the overall destruction of everything. You do need to put in a little bit of effort, at least in the story missions, to finding out about certain things. Like, see... This is one particular mission where you can't really be spotted by the agents. And you do have a few tools to help you with this. So, not only do you have the ability to disguise yourself as any human, but you can also use a distract ability. Basically, just let you wander right past them. Because if you get too close to those agents, they'll see right through your disguise. It's a bit weird, considering that you're supposed to be able to look like any human being, just completely, but okay. You do also have some more offensive abilities, of course. My personal favorite is the one that lets you harvest human brains, because they just pop right off after a few seconds of charging up, and it looks great. It's all very, like, B-movie Alien. That's really the best way to put it. You've got an electric gun that can jump from person to person. You've got a single shot, like, sort of cannon thing that just sets them all on fire. You have a gigantic bomb that'll destroy everything in a radius. But, of course, my personal favorite weapon is the anal probe because, well, you hear a name like anal probe, and you have a certain set of expectations, right? You have something that goes up their butt and scans them, and you think, how can you possibly turn this into a weapon? Well, you turn it into a weapon by pulling their brain out of their asshole. I laughed myself silly when that happened. I thought that was absolutely bloody ridiculous. And there are a few things along those lines in this game. You do also have the ability to telepathically pick people up, and, well, I say telepathically, like, basically you're just psychic. You can pick them up and you can pick up people, you can pick up objects and throw them, and you can even pick up, like, explosive barrels, and if you upgrade the ability enough, you get to throw things like cars, which is great. But yes, the game definitely has this overall, like, ridiculous comedy style to it. And it does help a bit with the writing. There's a few modern day references thrown in there. Like, there's this one mission about brainwashing that is strangely, like, relevant to today's sort of, like, heavily politicized culture, where they do nothing but, like, harp on Republicans for 10 minutes, which is a bit weird. But the rest of it is a bit more general as far as I've seen. I've played this for about 3 hours at this point. But my personal thing about the way that this game conveys its humor is the voice acting, because all of the voice acting is over the top. Crypto, I wish we heard more of Crypto, because he's very a realist, but at the same time he's also got a mean streak this side of Caligula, and it's great. He's always as angry as humanly possible, and it's something else entirely. Just listening to how mad this guy gets at the most randomest shit. It's always funny, but the best voice actor in by far is your companion, who is, I just saw the name in the top left of the video. What was it, Orthopox or something like that? Yeah, Orthopox, that's the one. Orthopox's voice acting is just so over the top and likable as a sort of, like, leader character that I can't help but love it. It's just the absolutely perfect level of over-the-top parody. It's great. And hearing Orthopox give out a set of orders in that voice, it always makes me chuckle. Because even when it's the most mundane thing imaginable, Orthopox always makes it sound so ridiculous. But yes, the game itself is split into two different kinds of gameplay. You've got the main story, in which you do multiple missions that, well, progress the story, tell you more about the world, let you move on to new locations, such and such and such. And as I said before, there aren't really any characters yet, outside of, say, like, one or two smaller ones that have shown up so far. There might be more as you go along, because again, I've only been playing this for about 3 hours. But yeah, you've basically just got Crypto and Orthopox that you've got to listen to as characters. The rest are just, like, stereotypes. You got stereotypes of mayors. Like, the mayors sound just like Mayor Quimby from The Simpsons. Like, if that should give you an idea of what the mayors are in this game. And I keep saying mayors, and I keep thinking of, like, horses. Not mayors. Mayors. And that probably just sounds like something else. But anyway, yeah. You've got mayors that sound like Mayor Quimby. You've got army sergeants that are constantly going on about the communists. You've got, like, teenage pretty boys that are going on about going out and seeing the world. And you've got secret agents that are dressed entirely in black and full of conspiracies. So you kind of get what the game's going for, and while it does work as a theme, it doesn't lend itself too well to having much depth in the story, because it basically just turns into go and do what they tell you to do, more or less. But I'm not really here for the story, I'm here for the atmosphere. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's done in a over-the-top way, but it takes itself seriously enough to know when to settle down and when to you know, when to be ever so slightly, like, less serious about it, you know? It's got that right balance. It's also worth noting that it doesn't, as I said before, this isn't one of those games where you can just destroy everything. In the story, at the very least. You can in the free mode. But in this, you can't destroy everything just freely. You need to do some objectives first. Get a little bit of information about the area that you're in. Then they let you start blowing shit up. So it knows what it's doing there as well, because while the action in this game is pretty good, all the weapons are satisfying to use. Wait until you get into the saucer. Again, these buildings blow up good. At the same time, if there was too much of it at once, it would get pretty boring pretty quick. So I appreciate that they know when to hold back on it, at least for the main story. So they'll often have you doing like minor objectives like stealthing through an area, kidnapping people, doing things on the low end, and then they'll have you do things like beat the crap out of a ton of people, blow up some buildings, and that'll be it, because a lot of the missions in this game are actually really short. You won't be very likely to spend more than 10 minutes on one mission. There's like 30 missions, so it's not like the story won't last for at least a relatively decent amount of time, but still, I imagine that some people might think it's a little bit short, but it's propped up a bit by what you can do in the missions and outside the missions. So inside the missions, you've also got secondary objectives. So these secondary objectives can be anything from use specific things to kill specific people, don't get spotted, yada 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 yada. You get the general idea. They're pretty basic side objectives, right? And they're the only thing that really makes the game difficult, because if you end up going through and not focusing on them at all, the game's actually pretty easy. You've got plenty of health even at the very beginning of the game to start with. They'll probably take you through to the end. And even then, the extra health upgrades are that cheap, and at that point you can just tank everything. You probably don't want to, but you can do it. But yeah, I would recommend focusing on those side objectives as you go, just because the game is a little bit too easy otherwise. Most enemies fall over, like, even with, like, simple shots from your infinite ammo weapon, so... And the infinite ammo weapon is the lightning bolt, so... It can be a little bit easy, but it's still fun. The enemies die in fun ways, and as I said, buildings explode spectacularly. You'll see plenty of that before the end of this gameplay. But yeah, those are the story missions. You can come back later and replay missions for the bonus objectives if you absolutely need to. They'll get you like extra artwork, but that's not really necessary unless you're going for 100% completion. You also have the ability to come back into the areas later, and they turn into a bit of free roam with all the other mechanics the same way. So if you get seen by the humans, they'll start eventually calling in like police and secret agents and what have you, but they don't really pose a threat to you in free mode, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. You lose nothing if you die. You've also got the ability to go looking around for the robots that you and company have left around, because for whatever reason you've left an absolute ton of drones just in the middle of the public on rooftops and everything. And these open world areas are actually quite small, to the point where you'll hop on a roof, pick up one drone, and then you'll see another drone like in the area around you, and you can chain like 5 or 6 drones that way multiple times in one area. It's a little bit weird. But they give you 100 DNA points each. You also earn DNA points for extracting human brains and doing side objectives in the secondary missions. And you use them to get upgrades, and the upgrades are pretty self-explanatory. Your weapons will be more powerful, you'll have more ammo, they'll get extra features like chaining off onto more people in the case of the lightning bolt, or making people spontaneously transmogrify into weapon ammo in the case of the gigantic fourth weapon, which is the gigantic grenade thing. Pretty simple stuff to understand. And you buy them by getting DNA points, which you get by, as I said, getting the drones, completing missions, getting like humans' brains, and doing a few other minor things like getting certain ranks on the secondary missions. The secondary missions unlock as you do story missions in particular areas. So once you've left, I think it's called Thimbleweed or something like that. Once you've left that place, you will, and won't have to come back to it for the rest of the story. You'll have unlocked all of the missions. And the rest, it just gets unlocked as you go through the story. And the 4 types of missions are pretty simple. You've got abduction, where you need to use your telekinesis ray to throw shit into a gigantic UFO thing and get it all sucked up. There is the race, which has you chasing after a drone. There is a mode called, did I talk about Rampage? Yeah, Rampage, where you're on foot and you need to either destroy a certain amount of things or kill a certain amount of people. And then you've got Armageddon, where you get in the UFO and just blow the shit out of everything. And they give you a time limit. The better you do, the more DNA you get for more upgrades. And that's pretty much the long and the short of it for the gameplay mechanics. Because you get... that's all you get, basically. You get all your weapons and you throw them at... You throw them, you use them, and you just go through and you get DNA and you upgrade and you go through some more. Admittedly, the side missions are a bit difficult to start with, but once you've upgraded your weapons a bit, they actually get a lot easier. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm guessing it's just because they wanted to make sure you still had content to do towards the end of the game. So they wanted you to come back and do it again with your higher powered weapons. And admittedly, some of them are better than others. Like, I'm not a particular fan of the race mode, because it just kind of seems against the entire point of this game to not either be destroying or abducting people. But Armageddon, Rampage, and Abduction are all pretty good. Although Abduction can be a little bit weird until you've gotten all the things that you can upgrade on your thing. Because there's this one where it's like, you can bring up vehicles for extra points, right? They tell you can throw vehicles into the abduction beam for bonus points, but for whatever reason, it's like the 3rd upgrade and it costs a ton of DNA. So you need to wait for a while until you can actively get the 3 stars on that. It's not as bad when they don't actively say, ha ha, come back later, but when they do that time, it's a bit weird. But still, Armageddon and Rampage feel more like what this game was designed around. And thankfully, just going around and blowing the absolute bejesus out of everything with a UFO, or just a big-ass grenade, or even an anal probe that, again, sucks people's brains out of their asses. I cannot stress that enough. It's the best idea for an anal probe.
We seem to have put a dent into Majestic's mind control.
But it's got all these neat touches. But like being able to read people's thoughts. I actually went down to the wrong area in the gameplay footage. I'm gonna have to cut that out, aren't I?
We can easily transmit our signal.
But yeah, it's got all those neat touches, like being able to read people's thoughts, the way the dialogue is written to be a little parody of the time, and these little like loading screens that they've got going on in the background here, with Crypto in increasingly ridiculous outfits, and like the UFOs dealing damage, and the newspaper articles. You even get like different newspaper articles for every single mission if you die on them, and they keep coming up with the wackiest excuses for why they haven't found a UFO and why it's all the fault of the communists. And it's great. It's legitimately funny just how far they're willing to stretch it. They do outright admit that aliens exist from time to time, but it's like pushed so far into the background that it just comes back around and makes it funny again. So yeah, I really do like Destroy All Humans. They did a good job with the port. There's one thing I'm actually kind of annoyed about, and that's how you control the height of the saucer along with turning left and right with your mouse. I find that to be a little bit strange, personally. But again, the port runs really well. It looks pretty damn good for a remaster from a PlayStation 2 game. Man, I wish there were more, like, PlayStation 2 games that got remasters on this level. Like, not even just, like, full-on remakes, just, you know, nice touch-ups of the original that make it look more modern day. It really does look great. It's got good humor. The voice acting is, like, stellar for this kind of, like, parody. It's not got much of a story, but thankfully it is mostly satisfying in the way that you get to blow up a ton of different humans and buildings and cows. Poor cows. The humans in this game kind of deserve it, but the rest of... No, the humans in this game deserve it, but the cows, they don't deserve it. They're the first abduction target in the game, and I felt so bad for them. But yeah, it's wild, it's wacky, it's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy playing it. I'm hoping to find some time to actually play the rest of it. It's got good action, it's got good humor, it's got a fair bit of variety. I don't know what else to say. I enjoyed it immensely. And considering that they have released it for, I'm pretty sure it's like $30 Australian. Hang on. I have to look it up. I have to look it up now, don't I? I do. Yeah, $30 American, $48 Australian. Thank you, Windows. For that price, yeah. As a budget title that you'll get like a few hours out of, like maybe 10, and you'll get a fair few good laughs and some nice destructive action out of it, yeah. I absolutely recommend it. It's good fun. Thank you, Windows. Damn it. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.
Food for Mr. Wither.
Hold it right there, boyo. Not so fast. I need to see some proof you are who you say you are.
Like what?
Like answers, smart guy. What is your name?
Carmine the cook. You want to move this along?
What is your quest?
To deliver this food to Bert Wither.
Okay, you passed. And next time, how about a little garlic bread for your friendly neighborhood flatfoot, huh?
A secret entrance. It's just delightful when the monkeys attempt to use their brain.
What the hell's wrong with Fuchsia?
No, that can't be right. Carries the alpha, drops the theta, square root of the omega. Ah, damn! I never should have dropped those particle physics seminars back in Leipzig.
Audie Murphy is a pussy. Now, John Wayne, that's a man's man.
Where is the Salisbury steak from Mr. Wither? He's starving. Is it that hard to find him up the stairs on the second floor of the docks?
Please, don't hurt me. I'll do anything you say. I swear.
You bet your ass you will. Come on, Bertie boy. I got a little job for you.
What are you doing?
You're dead, little
You have a...
Norton! You're going down!
Step right up. Weapons, abilities, saucers, upgrades are us. The success of the broadcast depends on you, Crypto. You must protect those towering transmission towers! Each tower has a transmitter at its base. If the army want to stop the broadcast, they'll have to take out those transmitters first.
Regiments 2 and 4, form up the main junction. 1 and 3, take the flank. Attack waves, target the infrastructure. I want those comm towers out of commission. Support waves, your task is simple. Destroy the communist insurgents holding the television station. No beet-eating, vodka-swilling, Trotskyite son of a bitch is gonna hijack this great nation's God-given airways. Not on my watch. Charge!
Incoming from the north!
SMCBS will bring you further news as it unfolds. Good day, John and Jane America, from north to south, from sea to shining sea. This is Bert Wither, coming to you live from a secure SMCBS studio at an undisclosed location in America's sunshine capital, Santa Modesta, with a special news bulletin. For years, America has been a beacon of hope to the world, but today comes disturbing proof. Our very way of life is under attack. Our great nation devoured.
Good work, Crypto.
Corruption. Yes, you heard it here first. The very heart of power in the United States.
Tower 1 is under fire. Let him have it, Crypto.
Bent to a crooked will, the insidious
on track.
Midget! No!
Tower 2 is being attacked.
Tanks! Roll in the tanks! Show them some American steel!
A federal agency behind the new terror on our streets. The terror of cops gone bad. But if policy is corrupt, what are the government responsible? SMCBS has acquired extensive documentary footage. Shadowy federal agents in reasonably priced black suits in Rockwell, Santa Modesto, even Capital City. Shown here abducting innocent citizens in unmarked black sedans. No arrest records exist. Yet to date, over 1,100 people have disappeared. Their families kept in the dark. And still the U.S. government remains silent. Refuses to acknowledge these abductions ever took place. Why has our government deserted us? Stay tuned. My fellow citizens, we must face the terrible truth. The powers that be in this nation no longer lead us, but oppress us. In the guise of national security from a communist conspiracy of silent abductions, one thing is certain. President Wilson must answer. But will he? Even as I speak, our mighty military strives to stop this broadcast. Only through the brave efforts of our SMCBS. Still, have they been held on?
Tower 2 is being attacked. Hit them back and hit them hard.
The president, for the first time in our history, has marshaled American armed forces against the American people. We are
Tower
not
2 is being attacked.
are we? The shocking final answer next.
Sir, the private regrets to inform you that he is on fire, sir. Alien! Attack!
Tower 2 is under fire. Tower 2 is half destroyed. What part of defending the towers don't you understand? Tower 2 is being attacked. Hit them back and hit them hard. Tower 2 is under fire. Come on, Crypto. Do that voodoo that you do so well.
Take out those towers now! All units, attack! Attack! Attack!
We have only a few moments until the army destroys our building. They're deploying tanks and, good lord, giant robots! We cannot survive for long. But in these moments, I want to share a new hope. SMCBS correspondents have uncovered something incredible. For the first time in history, proof that an alien race has visited Earth and apparently repeated attempts to communicate their message, befriend all humans. Tragically, these gentle, intelligent creatures are being systematically exterminated by government agencies. Are these interstellar ambassadors our last hope for a peaceful human future? Could they help us take back America? May Providence smile upon us all. This is Burt Withers.
Like roaches. Marvelous! So, what would you like to upgrade, you little ball of unbridled aggression?
What the? You pesky varmint! I'm gonna fill you
From outer space!
Oh, product placement on the TV has made my taste businesses yearn for respect. The bovine fire 'em up with fire or electricity, even an explosion, anything to char that meat nicely.
Martian smoke!
later for my FPS report.
I'm under attack!
Hard-licking good. All beef patties, the sauce, the uniform cheese squares, the industrial lettuce. This fast food here. Crypto! Disregard that communique. It's disgusting. Do you hear? Disgusting. Inedible. I need to turn this thing off.
You have the right to get your arse kicked.
Entire Korean villages.
Spaceman! Alien!
Catch the drone that's hovering near the statue of their bovine overlord. Quickly, before it falls into the hands of one of these bumpkins.
Oh, not another blasted alien invasion.
Perfect!
I'm taking you out of my
Space creatures!
Good work, Crypto.
Alien invaders! Let's do this. Stop it!
Halfway to the finish line. Perfect!
They want to destroy our way of life! You want a piece of me? Holy smokes! Aliens!
Here, pussy, pussy, pussy.
Hustle, Crypto! Only 1 minute remaining. Get to it.
Communist!
Good work, Crypto.
Perfect! That's a relief. However, about the self-destructing drones, Crypto, it had to be you. Or, wait! Have the human specimens figured out how to escape?
Space invaders! Good lord! It's an alien!
The orbital transporter is stuck next to this blasted lake until I can manually override the controls. Well, at least plenty of humans have stupidly gathered round to gawk at. Pitch them directly into the beam.
Ow! Let me go!
Superb!
Don't you look at me! Let me go, you...
How can this be?
That is not what I asked for!
Put me through! Get me the shotgun! I got a few spit pony! Commies!
You wasted half of your time! I can only keep the orbital transporter stationary for a few minutes. Stop shilly-shallying! That's half of the sample size.
Put me down, you little... Let me go!
Excellent work, Crypto. The colossal abductor beam is about to lose its target lock. They're still in shock, but they'll settle into their cages soon enough.
A saucer upgrade, perhaps? No? How about your gun or your abilities?
To prepare the way for our invasion, we must weaken the humans' economy and morale by causing as much damage as possible. We don't have time to waste, so get it done! Now! I've had enough of this place. The human dwellings, the cars, those stinking animal residences. Raise it all! this! Use your guidance systems! Don't wait! Deface! Ruinous! Time's up! This is work, not play! I've had enough of this place. The human dwellings, the cars, those stinking residences. Raise it all!
Good work, Crypto.
Where do you think you're going, Mars?
Crypto, you don't have...
You have a mere minute to complete this task.
Superb! Perfect!
Ruinous! That's the wrong way! Hurry! Keep destroying! That should get the stink of this fresh